us get started. It has been a harrowing 2 weeks. It's been something else. My mentions keep going off. People have been arguing, and it's nasty. I've seen levels of disrespect, especially coming right past Labor Day weekend, when it's probably one of the most, what is the biggest black parade in, at least in America.
North America, yeah.
In North America. And man, oh, the Americans do this. Oh, the Africans do this. Oh, that's not West Indian. Oh, you know, y'all this, y'all that. And I'm like, fuck. What did we open? What door did we open? And is there a way to get it closed? So after having that happen, I said, yo, you know what? I saw Liz and her brother here, Ray, in the comments of a clip that we posted, and things got a little nasty. I saw Liz. I hit up Liz. Liz is like my sister. I've known her. She's any of my birthdays. Probably one of the closest black women to me that it hasn't been publicized on the shows and everything. Like, this is literally my person. And she was going at it with the other friend of mine.
I didn't even do anything.
What? And then I saw her brother in there. And I called Liz. I said, did you tag in your brother?
Oh, I didn't see that.
And she said, no. He must have found it on his own. Ray, did you find it?
So how it went was I was dropping by my sister's to get my hair done. And she mentioned
You did tag him in.
Well,
I did
she
not
didn't tag
tag him
it.
in.
She mentioned what took place. She was like, because this is not a conversation that's uncommon. We've heard this through our whole lifetime growing up. This is not uncommon. So she mentioned how she's like, did you see this post that Tahoe put up? I'm like, no. I said, I don't follow Tahoe, so let me see what it is. So when I seen it and I heard the comment, I'm like, this is what we've been dealing with.
Now, let us go back to the moment that started this. First of all, we have Trom here. What's up, Trom?
What's going on, man?
We're in the tightest African t-shirt I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Had to represent.
Don't. We don't need naked Trom popping out of that shirt. Had to represent. You didn't have one that was your size.
I did not.
So you don't represent often.
Spoon shrunk, but it was appropriate for today, so I had to squeeze into it.
A sight I did not. I don't even want to vision you trying to squeeze into that shirt.
First of all, I don't know why you going in on Trom like this. Like, you ain't have one of them little fucking booty shorts last year. You
I have
are
on
not
booty
better.
shorts right now.
No, they was worse last year. Y'all remember
Why
the
you
shorts
can't?
he
Why I
had
can't
on?
just mess with my friend without you? I'm coming to you. You have your time.
No,
because you got on my cousin's hat.
I do. And you said I
But you
wasn't going to wear
stole
it. I
off
stole
his
it
head.
off his head. I stole.
Yeah.
So I'm a thief.
You used your wiles to
My wiles? What'd I do?
My cousin comes here, Liz.
What I did?
Watch the show live. He's in amazement, right? And we talk about power dynamics, right? We talk about when you use your power dynamics against it. He's amazed to be here in this thing live with people he sees on the screen. This one, I like that hat. Let me have it.
Did I say let me have it?
What did you say?
I said, I like your hat. Can I have it? And he said, sure. Can I?
If Beyonce asks you for your hat, would you give it to her?
Nah,
this one probably
Depends on the hat.
Yeah.
You kind
Yeah,
of
you
could have said no.
especially a guy.
But and I
From a
literally,
woman that
said
you're
you can
watching
say
in
no.
reverence?
You can say no.
then you're gonna look like you're gonna feel kind of corny.
It's your hat. You don't have to say yes.
And you
What am I
come in
gonna
here
do?
rocking
Stab
it
you?
as if this is like, oh, this is my
Did
thing.
you
I
have
wear
a
the
similar
ancestors hat.
outfit?
This is
No.
a 1619 hat on. Like, this is your like, oh, this is my ancestor hat. Look at the side. It says ancestors. Turn your head. Let me see. Ancestors.
It's 40 acres in a mule hat, and I had on 40 acres in a mule last week, and I've seen this hat before. It was sold out. So when I saw a person wearing it, and I was like, oh shit.
Not a person.
I don't know what's his name. What I called him, Brian.
You don't even know his. All right.
That's not even my business. So I said, can I have your
nasty
hat?
around these parts. All right.
I don't know why.
It's nasty.
They said closed mouths don't get fed. So I asked the question. I got an answer. I got the hat. I wear the hat. It's my hat. Thanks, cousin. Shout out to you.
Shout out to Matt.
That's his name?
Oh my God.
I was calling him Brian.
The dog on Family Guy.
That's crazy because that's not what I was thinking about. That's crazy. You see how rumors get started?
I will say that this
So I'm always in some
conversation.
shit now.
I will say that this conversation has been on my mind for a better part of a week and a half. I've been taking notes. I've been thinking about where I wanted to go. I want to make sure that us all in the room remember that we are community. We are all community. We all have different perspectives, experiences, purposes here. Like mine is to drive conversation. Mine is to drive, actually get from one end of the conversation to the other. That's what I do. And why are you smirking, motherfucker?
Because I find laughter in everything. Continue.
He's like, look, this motherfucker trying to sound smart. He's trying to sound smart because Ray's here. But I would like us all to remember that we represent somebody out there. And this conversation is something that could drive change, drive at least education, and let's do it in a respectful manner. You know what I'm saying? It's something that, as Trom said last week, doesn't cause more division.
Absolutely.
Now, shit, we're going to have differing views. We're going to have differing views, but let's try to make it that there's a solution-based convo somewhere in this conversation. Why are you laughing, Ray?
Somebody said my shirt is tight.
They said don't look
I'm
at
like,
the screen.
yo,
I saw it.
I'm checking like this. My shirt tight. I mean, it's
The
okay.
Discord-
It's a nice little fit.
Don't look at
The
it.
Discord is loaded, and before I get into this, I want to say that the reason Liz and Ray are here is not just because they were in the comments. They are also my brothers and sisters from Ghana that live here in America. And Liz has been trying to get me to go back to Ghana for a better part of 6 years. And she keeps telling me, because you go back several times a year, right? And that's what I was going to call you about. That's what actually was calling you about that day. But that's a whole conversation we still haven't had yet. So let's get into the clip. Y'all ready for this?
Let's go.
I am not. I'm nervous as fuck.
Not me.
Yeah, you don't give a fuck.
Don't.
What other race/ethnicities do you believe would be there to help black people in a race war?
Black American people, because the Caribbeans and the Africans, I don't see them standing up with us either.
Excuse the out of me.
The diaspora wars are already going crazy. It's mad Caribbeans and African people that think that they better than black Americans as it is. So when people from other countries come here, they are already forewarned. Stay away from them black Americans. They're like this. They're like that. There are a lot that will stand up with us, but I'm not counting every single last one.
So what you're saying is there are going to be a group of West Indians who are going to look at a race war and say, I'm from Trinidad, I know what's going on here. But I'm from Trinidad, I know what's going on in Alabama and all them type of thing. Them fellas down there, that's good. I go on right out soldier.
Right out, soldier.
Right out, soldier.
I initially joined the convo. If you can see my face, I was looking at Dodge like, what? I was like, this isn't a thing. This is not a thing. You're bugging.
Was I?
The comments proved overwhelmingly that she was not bugging. That there are a lot of people that feel that way. There's a lot of people, not only West Indians that feel, or Africans that feel black Americans. Y'all on your own. And we'll have the conversation as to why. But there's also a lot of African Americans that feel Dodge was right. Liz, you did not.
I want to be very clear and say my issue is, number one, the question was never answered. The question asked was who would support. The answer I heard was who wouldn't. If I was grading that paper, you would got an F. You didn't answer the question. You didn't answer who would help. If your answer is I know who wouldn't, I'm like, okay, so we still never answered this. So that was my first thing. And I felt like the minute there was like, oh, I'm throwing people under the bus. It was just like, damn, what did Africans and Caribbean people do to you? It felt personal. It was spoken from emotion. I felt like that question was meant to be unifying and inclusive. Hey, if it's going down, who's going down with us? Well, I know they're not. We don't have we don't even get to choose. You think the whites are going to come up to us and say, hey, speak. And I'm be like, I am African. They're like, all right, you good. No, they coming at us too. So logically speaking, we're all fighting this war, whether we want to. We don't get to put our emotions into this and say, am I going to join this fight or not? It's a race war. It is black, it is white. Black and white people are fighting, and it's based on color, the color, what you look like. I'm not white. So I don't get to get a pass on this and say, I'm a bow out because I'm African. No. I'm assuming the race war is happening here or by the comments in Flatbush, because that's where most of everybody's experiences help from. So I just felt like, okay, let's answer the question. And if we're gonna throw people under the bus, like,
when you say that, what do you mean throw people?
I just felt like throwing Caribbeans and Africans. I was like, it was divisive before it was inclusive.
Can you please play the clip one more time, the first 2 seconds of it?
What, me speaking?
No, the literal, because I find it to be very interesting that so many people are saying that I didn't answer the question, but I did. The question was
buried in the answer.
Hold on.
Okay.
The question was, who would help Black Americans or African Americans in the race war? I said Black Americans, period. And then I said, but we cannot account for all Caribbeans and African people. Play it again. You didn't hear it because you didn't want to hear it.
Whoa. Play it, please.
I think them fellas out there, that's good. I go on right out so.
What other race/ethnicities do you believe would be there to help Black people in a race war?
Black American people, because the Caribbeans and Africans, I don't see them standing up with us either.
Excuse the
You did it already.
The diaspora.
Bring it back. Bring it back.
There's no reason.
No, please.
It's important.
I gotta be able to
Hear
respond.
it. Yeah.
It still wasn't an answer, because what other people, Black Americans, who the other people that are going to help Black Americans are Black Americans?
Wait, pause. Before we have this conversation, and I feel like that this is the part that frustrates me, and I'm going to be very honest. You saw the clip, correct?
Yes.
You saw the clip, correct?
Yeah.
Did you guys listen to the show? Just not
No.
without. All right, no.
I
Wait,
said that
no.
would-
Wait, I know you did. I'm asking you. Did you listen to the show?
The clip is all that I need
Right,
to
the
see.
clip is all that you took the whole premise of a conversation that lasted about 25 minutes from the clip.
No, I took the clip for the clip. I told you that.
Wait, first of all, what's not going to happen is that we're not going to attack.
We should wait for each other to.
I'm going to say what I have to say. I let Liz speak. You said everything that you needed to say.
You didn't let her speak.
I did, and Tahoe
cut her off.
interjected. I did not. Tahoe interjected with another question, and I asked him not to. That's what happened. So let's be very
just
clear.
Just because you said that happened doesn't mean that's happened.
All right, so everybody has their own perspective, and that's perfectly fine. The fact of the matter is this. The question was asked, what other people were going to stand up for us? For Black American people if there was a race war. There was a whole conversation bringing up several other ethnicities. We spoke about Hispanic people. We spoke about Mexican people. We spoke about African people. We spoke about Caribbean people. And I told a truth. Whether it is your truth, that's neither here nor there. That's not my experience. I am a Black girl that grew up in Brooklyn with an African name. I'm half Caribbean and I'm African American. I got it from all sides. So with that being said, I'm saying that I have seen and heard people literally say, stay away from Black American people. I have seen and heard people literally say, Black American people are bad. Stay away from them. Just keep your head in the book. Do your studies, things of that nature. So when I said, who's going to stand up for Black American people in America, I said only Black American people will stand up for themselves in that moment. I said, because we cannot account for every Caribbean person and every African person.
You can't account for every Black person either.
Exactly.
So how do you know?
So why is it an issue?
This is the issue. Let me chime in real quick. This is the issue. You pretty much generalize everybody. You swept everybody into that when you said Caribbeans and Africans are not gonna help. Like
I said, I don't think they will. Well, I said I don't think that they will.
Well,
that's my thought, my opinion.
You said that whether
okay
you thought it or not. That's what you said. And my thing
that's my opinion.
My thing is, it's not a fact. Exactly right. It is an opinion. And my thing. You gonna let me talk, or you gonna keep chiming in? You wanna
listen.
You wanna jump in when people talking, and when you say something,
hold on.
Like let's have a conversation.
We knew that this was gonna be.
The energy been
you
weird.
made it weird.
Yeah, you made it weird.
Yes, you.
Y'all are, first of all, This is her show.
That's fine.
Let's
This
all
could
just
be her
have
show.
respect for each other.
I'm
right?
trying.
And
What
y'all are speaking as a unit
why does something
towards
have to
her.
try
Like
to
y'all
do?
both have y'all individual.
We're trying to have
things.
we're trying to have a
Let me finish
dialogue.
my-
Talk
Let
to
me
me
just finish.
together.
Let me just finish, bro. Because I ain't even in this. I'm
Please,
trying to
Ray.
just. I'm trying to
get
moderate.
two
it.
words in.
I know you are. Let's just let them, please.
We all, like I said, have our own perspectives and opinions, but they need to be heard. All of us need to learn how to, you included, sweetheart.
Yeah, I'm listening.
We all need to learn how to let somebody else talk, get their shit off, and then get our shit off. And I would like the power to be able to moderate this conversation. I would like for y'all to let me say, yo, Ray, Liz, Trom, you know what I'm saying? Because if we go in this way, we're gonna get frustrated. It's gonna end, and all the productivity we can have will be out the window. And this is exactly what we do every day in the street. This is exactly what we do all the time.
She went ahead and spoke. She said what she had to say, right? I'm trying to say my piece. I'm getting cut off.
I spoke to her about
so
that.
let me
I
finish.
did say that, bro.
So let me get what I have to say out, and then we can
I'm gonna
continue
give
the
you the floor,
conversation.
my brother. I'm
But-
asking you to listen to what I'm saying as
Oh, I
I'm speaking
heard
to
you.
everybody.
Okay.
I'm speaking to everybody, bro.
Got you.
You understand what I'm saying? And I specifically brought her up and said, "Hey, you too, sweetheart." That's you know what I mean.
And I said, I got you.
So, Ray, you do have the floor now, but I would like for us to just let each other speak. This is a loaded conversation. Go ahead, Ray. Do your thing.
Okay. So, I was born in America. I was born in the Bronx, raised. My parents are both from Africa. They're both from Ghana. Let's be specific. They're from Ghana, West Africa. My parents came to this country trying to have a better life for themselves and their children. When they came to this country, they thought they were going to be embraced by the people that look like them. Okay, it's enough that you have to work for a place and the Caucasians or the people that don't look like you are already shunning you. But then when you have the people that do look like you, that you're expecting to maybe show you how to do things, because you're not from this country, right? They're the ones that's more antagonizing than the other people. So when you grow up in that type of environment, your parents, all they can do, because again, they're here illegally. So they're not trying to they're not going to the police, they're not making a rift. They don't want to they're not confrontational. So they might tell their kids, hey, if that person does this and this to you, see yourself away from that person.
Yep.
Don't get involved with that person. Not to just outrightly tell you that they can't do nothing, because they're not here legally. So they're still working through that. But it just to kind of keep things going and allow themselves to progress, just stay away from that energy right there.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure, go right ahead.
Are you saying that what she said is actually true, but you're giving a reason as to why?
It's not true, because what she said is they said stay away from those people. I have mad black friends. I roll with a crew. So that was never the notion to stay away from black. How are you gonna stay away from them? How you gonna? We lived in the communities. We were there. There were some kids that were bad, and I'm sure everybody's parents said, "Hey, that kid right there, don't play with that kid. That kid is trouble." Everybody's parents had that. So when you start to take what a parent says about a particular kid, and now you make it seem like it's a whole community, now you're bugging. Now you're bugging. You're doing too much.
May I please say something?
Go ahead, Liz.
I want to say, and we can go through the comments line by line.
It was 15,000 comments.
My beef has always been with the narrative being divisive. I'm not going to be on the record being divisive. Period. If you're asking me a question about who's going to be down, that's what I'm staying with. I'm not going to be on the record, on camera, on a mic, saying, yeah, these people ain't rocking with us that look like us. So that was always my beef, and I said that in the comment. That's why I was like, yo, I didn't even finish listening, because as soon as I heard that, I was like, that wasn't even the question. Like, can we, where was this going? Like, who going to ride with us? Who got our back? Oh, such and such got our back. Oh, I know. This is what I'm expecting to hear. And I hear Black Americans, but Caribbean and I'm just like, just 24 hours prior, I was giving you your flowers. You put a perspective in my head about the whole Meg Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez thing.
You always give Taj her flowers in the comments.
I did. So that's why when I heard that, I meant it when I said it hurt my heart, because I was just...
And I don't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
But I think I got the gist of it. But
so I say that to say I wasn't trying to dispute her feelings, her emotions. I wasn't. You can go back and read that.
Well, So this is the thing for me, right? When I heard what Daj said, she said, I'm not gonna say that for everybody, but I won't say they will all,
but
right?
That was buried
so that
in
I
the
think
answer.
that's inclusive of y'all that would. And this conversation is bigger than Daj.
It is.
All right, can I please, because we understand that this conversation is bigger than me, one, yes. But I feel like personally, I'm getting the brunt, and I feel like what I said personally affected y'all, but I did not personally say anything to anybody. I am speaking of a lived experience.
That is personal,
that I have seen. But understand where we are, right?
Right.
We're on this show, this platform. If somebody asks me a question about my opinion, now I'm being berated for my opinion. I'm being said that I am wrong.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the part where he asked the question.
Let finish, please.
I am being berated for my opinion. I am being told that my opinion and my perspective is wrong. I am being told that I am now personally affecting people personally, right? So this is my opinion, my lived experiences, the things that I've seen. And there are literally thousands of other people that are in agreement because they've seen the same thing. Why can't both things just be true? I feel like the conversation is very much, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, because my parents are not like this. My parents wouldn't do that. All right, cool. That's fine for you. That's fine for your parents. Shout out to that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people that I know that is not the situation. I'm talking about the people that I know and that I've seen and that I have personally experienced when the situation is not the same. And I don't understand why this conversation even has to be this big. I wasn't intentionally being divisive. That was not the conversation. The conversation was, if you ask me who's gonna ride with us, I said we are gonna ride with us, and we cannot account for everybody else. I'm sorry I don't make clips. I'm sorry I don't put edits together. I'm sorry I didn't put the conversations together. I'm sorry that the conversation did not sit on top of each other the way it sat on top of each other in this room, which got everybody all riled up. But at the end of the day, what we're not gonna do is, I'm not going to take the personal brunt and attack for something that is a lived experience of mine. You don't have to agree with me. Your lived experience can be different. You could have grown up completely different. Fine, take that. But why is my opinion under attack because of your opinion lived is on experience?
The clip.
Let's let Traum speak. He's been sitting here quiet with his tight t-shirt on for 20 minutes now.
Shirt is squeezing the life out of me. I could barely talk.
Is that what it is?
I'll try, yeah.
Is that what it is? Go ahead, bro. What are you seeing here?
So, when I first saw the clip, I was like, damn, I wish I was on the show. I was mad I missed it.
I'm glad you weren't
I
here.
purposely did not comment on it because I didn't know the full context.
And we had the conversation later.
I still haven't commented on it. I liked some people's comments, but I didn't put a comment on. And plus, if Daj, my friend, my co-host, if she's getting jumped, I'm not going to join in. Even if I disagree, I'm not on social media. I'll talk to you on the podcast like I did last week. That being said, one of the first questions I asked you last week, I was like, I didn't listen to the full show. Mm-hmm. Is there any context that I missed? And you said no. You was like, I said what I said. You stood on it in that context. So my opinion, I never thought that what you said was wrong, quote unquote. Yes, there is divisiveness. There is possibly tension in between community. And I made the comment that there's always tension between people that are different, right? That's just something that always happens. It's part of society. But where I thought it was socially irresponsible is to highlight those differences. We have a strong platform. We have a lot of listeners. We have a lot of followers. You didn't know it was going to be a clip, but you did know it was going to be on the show and it was going to be on camera. And this is my opinion, right? Let me finish. Right. I'm not saying that there was any untruths to what you said, but to say it in a question that didn't even demand for that to be said, I thought you kind of went out of your way to make a divisive comment. My opinion still.
You also not on social media seeing what she's seeing. Yo, this is over and over again. Since we've had this conversation, I'm seeing Africans, I'm seeing videos, I'm seeing Americans, I'm seeing West Indians going at each other, and it's ridiculous. I didn't even know it existed to this level. No, after I seen this, I go and type in diasporas. So I'm going on YouTube. I'm watching videos. I watch videos on YouTube. I'm seeing fucking shit on TikTok. I'm seeing shit on Twitter, and it's ridiculous the amount.
And all
she's make it right.
And I'm mad that we're contributing.
Wait, we're not talking about right
well,
or
I'm
wrong.
not even talking about your opinion. Your opinion was stated, and that's fine. Everybody has their opinion, but I'm more so talking about the fact that it's divisive and that we should try to mend and not use this as to drive a wedge. That's what I'm talking about.
It wasn't intentional to use it to drive a wedge.
But it did it anyway.
I was bringing up a real life experience that is going on. And I literally said diaspora wars are going so crazy right now, which is the reason why I feel the way that I feel.
So let's
it's
just
like
F you to it by saying they're not going to ride with us.
You said what?
Right, you just added
F
to
you to the diasporas by saying.
Is it? Do you guys think that there's any
I
truth to
know.
the? All right, so let's get past this clip.
Well, let me say,
let's get past this clip because this clip is obviously the
So
all of this frustration here is this clip. What Ray said initially is like, yo, we got that shit from y'all. There is resentment there.
That's what I said last week.
No,
I'm not saying with
Not
you.
personally. Okay.
I'm not saying with you, my brother.
No, I'm not talking about with you either. I'm just saying
when-
in total. It's not a resentment.
If you're speaking about
for everyone?
one, if you're speaking
Are
about
you?
one experience,
No,
that you-
I only speak for me. I speak in me, I, and my statements. Always.
when you spoke on the experience that you had, I would assume that it's from your parents. You were like, they come here, they're looking for better work or whatever, and they're getting this thing from Americans that look just like them, and that shit is frustrating. And then they learn to not, because they're illegal immigrants and because they don't want no smoke, they don't.
Keep your head down.
Just
Keep your head
stay
down,
away
keep
from the
working.
people that's like that. So we're saying that this is an age-old issue. That there is some meat there. And if you can say that from one experience, especially somebody like y'all, like I said, Liz is one of my best friends. One of my best friends. If this is an experience that she literally has lived through in her home and still said, I don't care, I love this nigga. As ignorant as he can be on the fucking internet, and he's part of this conversation, then there is growth to be made. And that's what I would like. I would like understanding here. We could say, all right, the clip, misunderstood, clip was this or that. That's not gonna take us nowhere.
It was the clip was one-sided. The clip mentioned one side that everybody was like, oh, and then there was no rebuttal to it. There's no, if Tron was there, he could have gave a different perspective.
So my thing is, I'm sorry, Ray.
Go ahead.
This is a conversation that needs to be had.
It has, absolutely.
And for me, I stand by the fact that it's like, okay, how do we give, like, is there a way to get from feeling like they won't ride for us? I'm asking a question to y'all.
Is there a way to
feel
get
like
there?
Caribbeans and like,
You know what? When I saw the comments, bro, the comments, it got away from the clip and it got to some real feelings between, I don't know, the different cultures.
I only saw the ones
There's
related.
feelings on both sides.
Can I finish what I'm saying? There was a young man who I asked to be here today. He couldn't make it. His name is Cisco. And he said, yo, this is coming from both sides. The aggravation that you're seeing from West Indian African, y'all got to take accountability for how y'all made them feel when they was growing up, or whatever was going on in the 80s and 90s, and the African booty scratcher comments, and the making fun of the way they talk comments, and the making fun of the lack of hip hop culture, or whatever it is, the way they dress, or whatever it may be. Y'all made this thing, and y'all got to accept accountability.
Yes.
I don't really know how to do that right now at 40 years later. Like I feel I don't really know what to do.
Yeah.
It's conversations like this that gets both point of views out there. Because if you only hear one, and the reason to that is because they think they're better than us, you don't know where that derived from.
Right.
You don't know where that started. You're just
who
saying,
thinks who's better than who?
Well, she mentioned that.
All right, can you please stop calling me she? My name is Daja, and I'm sorry, it's really starting to bother me.
I'm going to continue to talk. Thank you.
All right, let's put a break in this.
Yeah.
I need for me to take accountability. I can't just be like, oh, my bad, because my initial thing is, yo, this 40 years ago, we was talking about everybody. We was talking about the South. South hates us. South hates the North. We was talking about the West Coast. They hate the East. You know what I'm saying? Because it was mad ignorance. We wasn't not really on some building shit. in the early 90s, late 80s, we was on some fuck everybody shit. Everybody was getting it. So African booty scratches, we really didn't. Like, so
the
what are we
South was
supposed to do
down
now?
there though, and the Africans who you're referring to were right in your community. You see them every day.
There's also propaganda, or there's also what we've learned that, oh, y'all sold us for sugar. And then cotton pickers or whatever.
Sold
there's still
for
that.
Sold for sugar?
Stolen.
Listen, I'm telling you that we've been pointing fingers at each other for mad long.
It's a Spider-Man thing.
There's been point. So I need to understand what accountability looks like and where it starts. Where's the chicken and the egg? Who takes accountability for what? Who says sorry for what? I don't know.
We all say it. We all do it. Even if we didn't do it personally, we all do it, and we all say it, and we all show up.
So, Tron, you got something?
At some point, we got to sweep all that shit under the rug. It's not productive at all to even unpack all of this. Honestly, it's not that productive, because the reason being, the question posed was, if there was a race war, who would come to bat?
Fuck the race war, bro.
Can I finish?
That's what started this. Your question.
But the one thing that we're missing in that question is the race war been going on. We acting like we not in a race war. We acting like we haven't been on the receiving end of a war against white supremacy for years. And it's continued to go on throughout the world, throughout the globe. So the minute while we over here fussing about our differences, there's somebody that's looking at us as one and going against us as one. And we're like, oh, I'm not black.
The fact of the matter, you need all of us. You need the Caribbeans, you need the Africans, you need all of them.
And it happens.
And we need y'all.
Listen, divisiveness happens all over the place. And like I said before, whenever there's a difference, there's going to be some divisiveness. Now, we don't have to put attention to that. North Korea and South Korea don't fuck with each other. But I bet you if one country was like, yo, we gonna bomb both of y'all together because we look at y'all as Korea, they gonna be like, you know what, we coming together. And they're not gonna be like, yo, let's unpack.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
You think they're gonna cut side deals?
Yeah, of course, they've been cutting side deals.
I bet you they're not gonna be like, let's unpack our beef while we're losing this war that they're fighting against us as one unit. That's the thing. Like, we are in the war already. It's already happening. And divide and conquer is the biggest way to win a war. At what point, this conversation is frustrating to me. When I did the rabbit hole looking up diaspora wars, the fact that these conversations are happening so much is bothersome to me. Because
that's the point. That was my whole point. That literally was my larger point. The diaspora wars are already going crazy, which is why. And the reason why I also said what I said is because you guys are from Ghana. You guys go back to your country and you probably vacation, hang with your family, hang with friends, or whatever the case may be. You say you go back several times a year. You have that as an option. There's a lot of Black Americans in this country that do not have that as an option.
You know how many Black Americans are in Ghana?
I do know how many Black Americans are in Ghana.
That live?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. But what I'm saying is, for me, for my dad, if some shit was to pop off in this country, we have a house in Guyana. He can go hop on a plane and go right back to Guyana, and he doesn't have to deal with the shit that's going on here. I can go too. I can pack my whole family up and go too. I can't. Exactly. And that was my whole point.
My basement.
I was like, we cannot account for everybody, because I know, and I said on the show last week, you can't even ask everybody to join in a fight when we already have our own interdimensional beefs. You can't. People have things to lose. People have families. People have jobs. If some shit was to pop off right now, you cannot account for everybody. And I never speak for everybody. I can't speak for everybody. I'm going to speak from my experiences. I mean my statements most of the time. I feel like this is what I think.
Okay,
this is what I've seen. And if some shit was to pop off, I have a 4-year-old and a 14-year-old. If I have the option to get the fuck out of this country, I'm gonna get the fuck out of this country. And I'm speaking for me. I will go to Barbados with my husband. I will go to Guyana with my father. I could go to London back with my fiance's mom. If I have the option to leave, I will leave.
I'm bugging.
So how do we get this
but am I bugging that y'all are saying, Trump is saying, man, fuck that. Let's focus on the... Aren't there underlying issues?
There's so many issues.
Are there not underlying issues that need to be fucking addressed? Because you're saying, it doesn't make no sense to address it. Let's just focus on the power play. It's not gonna happen. You're gonna sit people you're gonna sit people together that don't inherently like each other or trust each other.
That's the thing right there. And that trust factor isn't just with African American people.
It's amongst Americans, period.
That part.
And I heard you say that, and I agree.
That part.
And I agree too.
But go ahead, Ray. Go ahead, finish.
So it's getting to that and understanding where do we as a community go forward. The diaspora wars, I was going to ask you about that. Do you even know what that is about?
I have no idea. It's one of the questions I was going to ask you, but we started getting to the goddamn clip so much.
Mentioned it. Do you know what that's about? What
the origin of it?
What's
the reason?
What about like jollof rice?
Jollof rice versus
somebody said it was about rice.
What's the reason? What's the whole premise of this diaspora wars? Because I just read up on this, so I'm oblivious to this too.
From my perspective, I feel like the whole thing about diaspora wars is everybody is not understanding each other's nuances and cultures. Everybody keeps having these conversations on who's better, what's better. Oh, you don't have this. Oh, you don't have this. Oh, you didn't experience this. You didn't experience that. And we're missing the fact that we all come from the same place and was dropped off in different locations.
Can I ask a question?
So, wait, just 1 second. So, what I researched about the diaspora wars derived from reparations. They were talking about, if black people get reparations, these people who are Caribbeans and they can't get none.
And I'm in agreement with that.
And hey, that's what it is. I'm in agreement with that.
That's that FBA shit. That foundational Black American shit.
But that's where I researched where diaspora wars. That's where I researched where it picked up from, because that started coming up, and then you had people talking about where I'm on this side, I'm on this that side, and we didn't like you when you did this.
This is all social media driven, right?
I think the diaspora wars that are happening every day are social media driven. But I think that there's also another element of diaspora wars that literally are lived experiences. As I said in the beginning of the show, I am a Black girl in America that is half Caribbean with a Nigerian name. I got it from all corners, so I see all sides of it. I see it all. A lot of things that other people went through, I went through the same thing just because of my name alone. So with that being said, it's not just social media. Social media is doing the thing that it always does, and it puts a magnifying glass on things that are already there. There's an already undenying issue between all different ethnicities of Black people, the Afro-Latinas, the Caribbeans or West Indians, the Africans. Like, we're all having issues with each other and because of our differences.
Every second
and it's been this way for a long time.
They are sitting there like,
but the issue is what?
Let me say something. The miseducation has been done so well, they don't even have to do it anymore. Because we're going to sit here and argue amongst ourselves about who's going to do what and when, as opposed to us talking about how, which is why we're here. I'm just trying to bring it back to like, yes, it starts with conversations like this. Yes, but what are we coming out of? I feel like I hear a lot of you saying, I've never heard anyone say that they're half Guyanese and half Black. Like, my nieces have, I guess, American moms. They're African to me. That they know. Their dad's Ghanaian, your aunt's Ghanaian. You're from Ghana too.
There's a method to my madness.
I'm sure. And my kids the same way. And talking about having experiences from all sides, if there's a way that you can kind of connect outside of it, that's what you're going to go with. Like, okay, like if somebody's going in on, let's say, Caribbean folks, do you feel comfortable defending?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And if somebody goes in on African people, Nigerian and Ghanaian specifically, I will join those conversations as well. And that's why I think that I'm taking it so personally, because I feel like I speak up for all ethnicities. And it's like, I don't give a fuck about the clip. I really, really, really don't. In my true essence, in my true heart, I really couldn't give a shit about the clip. But what I do care about is I care about being put in question based off of 30 seconds of a larger conversation, and that's always going to be my issue because I stand up for everybody.
But that's all it takes. All it takes for the words. It'd be different if it was somebody else's soundbite and they put it to your face. But
yeah, that's what we put out into the world. We can't be
right.
Once that's anytime I get when we look at things and we say, that's crazy.
But we deal with it two different ways.
We do. I just say go ahead, let them do it, and you kind of fight the whole time.
All the time.
But that's literally our content that we put out there, and we can't really be mad at what the general public.
Right. That's like, at the end of the day, it's great for engagement. Y'all getting all this buzz about it. Now we can sit and have a conversation because that's what the clip was meant to do. The clip was meant to be provocative, and it got the people going. And now
I think it goes to how we label ourselves because.
Okay.
We've been identifying ourselves as black forever. Black, white. In Africa, there's 54 countries in Africa. Each has their own country. But you don't know, you can't say, oh, this person is Gambian, this person is from Zimbabwe.
People still think Africa's a country.
Right. They just say they're African. They group them.
Yeah.
So even when you talk about Hispanic people, there's Hispanic and there's Afro-Latino. Mm-hmm. The labeling has to stop. If we could stop labeling each other, saying I'm half this, half that, or I'm black and you're African. If we could figure out how to just
Can I speak on that?
Go ahead. Yeah.
I would say this. I need to. I think you can't take people's culture, their pride for their culture away by saying that. And the thing is, with Black Americans, we feel. It's like we're alone. And it's like, yo, are you black? No, I'm Trinidadian. Or no, I'm this. Or no, I'm that.
Yes.
And it's like, and then
you do it with Africans.
We can't respect.
But
I totally understand that. I understand that. But the thing is that as we go through life, we build up a resistance to certain energy that comes towards us. So it's like, yo, if you look like me, you act like me. But when questioned, are you like me? You say, I'm not like you.
Yes.
I'm over here.
Yes.
That makes me look at you like, damn. And then on the top of it comes the conversation that y'all don't have culture. And honestly, I've never gone through that. I've never, thank God, been around a person from another country that looks like me that made me feel less than. I always felt like they had something that they could relate to, but they understood that they shared with me. So, and I that's why I said the diaspora was crazy for me. Mm-hmm. I didn't know there was so much hate behind it.
But there's hate behind everything. In America, we're not black, we're Ghanaian. And in Ghana, we're not Ghanaian, we're American. We don't fit in anywhere. We were born here. We have African names. I don't speak the language. So I get a whole bunch of shit. So like when you paint this picture about me going home and it's beautiful when we partying, but at the end of the day, I'm getting taunted because I don't speak the language. I can't talk to anybody. Oh, you old brony, you're American. I come over here, I can't even be black because it's like, oh, your food smells, look what, I don't understand your mom and why you look like that. I getting it on all ends. And then
everybody gets it from all ends. There's tribalism in Africa. There's different tribes that don't rock with different tribes. Just like in America, you got Bloods and Crips. Everybody there's that instilled in community. And that's what it is, a community. You're going to have people that you don't rock with, and you're going to have people that you do rock with. You're going to have people that you think is going to ride with you, and you got people that you don't think is going to ride with you. So the thing is knowing that there's both sides, and and not seeing everything from one perspective lens. That there is both sides. That there's somebody that you might not think will rock with you, but will, and vice versa. But it's divisive. It's in the community. Is heads being bumped, but it's still community.
Can I speak on something? Mm-hmm. So I want to speak on what you said earlier, Ray, about the labels. I understand how frustrating it is. We have to understand that we didn't necessarily make we did not make the social constructs.
Right.
We don't have the liberty to be like, I'm not black, I'm Trinidadian, because the social constructs were made by white supremacy. So if we can't be like, I'd rather not live in the reality of those social constructs. We don't have that luxury to separate ourselves from the way that the world works. We are all a victim of white supremacy. Every African country, except for Ethiopia, has been colonized. Every Caribbean country, Black Americans got it. Everybody got it in different ways.
That's a fact.
Victims of white supremacy and those social constructs. We can't now be like, I don't want to be a part of that. That's the way, unfortunately, that's the system of the world and the social constructs that exist. Understanding that and getting back to the original question of how do we overcome all of this, the reason why I was saying, yeah, we sweep our differences under the rug. What's the one thing that brings people together? Having a common enemy that's greater than the little bullshit enemy that you think you have that's really your neighbor.
That's a fact.
That's like, everybody knows that. Like even in jail, you might see the Nazis and the blacks team up against the Mexicans, if they, you know what I mean, like, as an example, as a bad analogy, right?
Horrible.
And that's gonna be the clip. And then we're gonna have the conversation. Just see, that's
But
gonna be the clip.
And clip maker, make that a clip.
My point
I bet
is
you
that
will.
my point is that that's a way to unify people together. When you find a common enemy that's greater than the differences that we have, we all gonna have differences.
Right.
Like you pointed out, people from the South, West Coast, we all American. We got mad differences. We clown each other and all of that.
With the West Coast.
At some point, when there's a common enemy, and there is, and we're in a race war because we are, at what point do we stop even talking about this bullshit and really address what's really going on?
It's when you have people that don't actually have real power or control over their environment or their systems, and they're fighting over the smallest piece of cheese that's dropped in the middle, and you're like, oh, we can all share this. And motherfuckers don't have enough to share, so I'm gonna take as much as I can get, and you ain't part of my family. I gotta go feed my family. Literally, the fact is that yo, these people hate each other. Like that shit in that I have never seen nothing like this shit I've seen. The way they talking about, oh, y'all Americans, y'all don't have no culture. You don't you don't.
Crazy to
I'm
me.
like, yo,
That's such a. It's.
but then they talk about how we spoke about y'all, and I'm like, all right, so what does accountability look like? How do we talk to them? If we're gonna talk about healing,
I feel like everybody
deal
being
with those
hurt.
things?
Everybody say some wild shit behind the screen. Let's just keep that out
and
there.
when
Like,
they're hurt.
but when it's time to have the conversation, don't none of that get said. Because truth be told, black culture has been carrying the culture for a very long time. And
American culture, black culture has been carrying American culture for
that too. But I don't even associate, like, it's
what's the end?
I mean, the world to me.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
I mean,
oh, fair enough. The world to a certain extent, like
It's a lot of black culture that influences the world, and they take and rape the culture and they do what they want with it. But go ahead, Ray. Finish what you gonna say.
And then you can actually spin off on that. But I say that to say, because you see a lot of the comments coming through. You see a lot of people saying real slick, shady stuff, and that's all on the spectrum of being on the net. Like, none of that actually, when you comes down to having a conversation, is going to be said. Because truth be told, Africans want to be here for the opportunity that's here, that's being presented, that black people take and run with it and build upon. So that's just what's prevalent. That's just what's prevalent. When my whole premise or my whole being is that there's another side to the story that excludes people that won't help. There's people that's down. There's people that was born here down for that won't get looked as somebody different. Because when it comes down to it, they're not gonna see me being from Ghana. They're not gonna hold back from shooting me because I have this shirt on. It's the skin color they see first and foremost that proves to them who I am.
I agree. Growing up, there was a movie called Belly.
I feel like
both.
I was still an adult.
Both editions.
A lot
I was in high school.
of black culture, right, in that. And one
Nas
of the
part.
best artists in the world, Nas, in the culture, was speaking to T-Boz. And he said, yo, fuck this shit. Yo, I want to, let's just move to Africa.
Let me tell you, when I watched that in movie theaters, everybody bust out laughing.
I was like,
and I was
what
like,
the fuck is this?
Everybody bust out laughing when Nas said that. And I was like,
You was ready to root for it.
I was like, but everybody's like, ah! Everybody laughed. And I was like, damn.
Because
and it wasn't until Black Panther that shit changed.
It wasn't, but it was what the fuck for me too. It was just like, what? You out here selling drugs
I open
and
every cell in Attica, send it to Africa. He been saying that. That's
okay,
why.
but you've also been saying that to me. You've been telling me, come to Ghana, see what it's like. And, over the course of growing up, I'm like, yo, I want to go to DR. I've seen people going to Thailand. I see people going to London. I see people going to Brazil, Costa Rica, Cancun, Miami, Virginia Beach.
Everywhere but.
Well, it's funny that, the thing was for Africans to come to America to get a better life. And now the conversation's changed to Americans going to Africa. Well, what is that about?
This was by design. Let's not even kid ourselves. Like when you go back to the African kid with the fly in their stomach and running, like they painted Africa in a picture where it was decimated. It was starvation. It was nothing to be there. Where anybody would see that, who would see an African, they'll automatically think starving kid in Africa. So that was pressed upon us from a very young age that this continent represents that. I don't want nothing to do with that. So when you get to a point where now you're telling people, yo, come on, not for nothing. I didn't go back to Ghana until I was like 41, and I was in and I just didn't know what to expect when I even went out there.
Going to Ghana was a punishment, like. Like if you were bad, you were gonna get sent to Ghana.
Only because they knew growing up there was a lot more
harder.
rougher.
There's no corner stores. There's no like whatever's the hood here. Back then would have been an upgrade. So the whole idea of your punishment would be all the luxuries and accessibility you have here is going to be taken from you, and you're going to thug it out over there. Got you straightened up. So even we had that perception of like, why would we want to go back there? We went as adults, and we were like, why did our parents build this picture like this? Like,
went out there, we're like, yo, this shit is popping.
It was like, picture it. 2018, my DMs is blowing up because everybody's like, yo, Liz, why you ain't tell me Ghana was like this? I was like, first of all, I've been inviting everybody. I've been telling everybody.
Parents always inviting. You know,
my mother, you would think
like
you got
they
a
invite
20
people knowing that
bedroom
they're
house.
not gonna come,
right?
Because people are like, yo, that ticket price is crazy, but it's absolutely worth the trip. But I guess back to what the premise is about.
Why they're going back.
This diaspora war business is based on feelings that people had growing up. They feel that they better than us. We not rock with them. They bully us all the way up until we're this age, so I ain't got no love for them. That's really, I think that's where the premises started from both people getting it, both sides getting into their own way, getting in their own way. So how do we stop that? How do we figure it out? We have these conversations. We put out what the root is.
Trump is saying, fuck these conversations.
I mean,
I'm saying we could work on the solutions. I'm saying we don't have to have a conversation and focus too much on what's dividing us. There's so much to talk about with the differences. There are differences, and there has been hate on both sides. The more we talk about that, is the less we really get into the fact that despite our differences, it don't matter. There's really no solution to the differences. There's no solution there. There's always going to be differences.
I think that if I'm speaking about the difference between me laughing at Nas going back to Africa now and me going back to Africa with Liz at my age, or bringing my kids there now and making it a thing instead of taking them to DR and walking in some, over there, go over to fucking Ghana and Seychelles. What's it called? Seychelles? What's that? Seychelles. Yeah. There's a fucking beach right there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Obviously, it costs fucking thousands of dollars more to go to
by
go
design,
there.
they don't want us to go there.
But there's a difference if you're able to experience certain shit and connect with it. Mm-hmm. I think that's one way to start changing the dynamic.
It's the ignorance. We didn't know.
And I'm super ignorant. I swear to God, when I seen cities over there and they're fucking beautiful, I'm like, wait, what is this? Is this like the one city? Or is it like all of it? It's like this everywhere?
I mean,
keeping it real, if there and to go back to the race war, if there was a race war, we're probably snatching people and like, yo, let's get out of here. We're probably telling people we don't want to fight. They can have this place. Let's go back.
I've been saying that, especially when Trump became president. Like, why are we?
I was telling all my peoples like, yo, come to Ghana. We could set something up. It's nothing. Let's go. Let's leave this for them.
And for us, that's our way of unifying. It's not like, the invitation is there, right? And we've been seeing it every December. The numbers are growing. People are showing up and people are witnessing. Not everybody's gonna love it.
There was a whole Harlem block in Ghana in one December.
Listen.
Like a whole Harlem neighborhood was there. Came out there, had a great time. But
that was for what's his face wedding.
Oh yeah.
But I was talking to somebody who was telling me to come out there and buy property out there, and I was like,
if you can do it.
Do they like black Americans coming over there? And
it's an open invitation for African Americans. It's always been an open invitation for African Americans because they're part of the diaspora. They are the diaspora.
What does that mean?
Open invitation.
If you take part.
If you come, you can come to different countries in Africa and set roots there. You can buy property there. Your experience that you have here, that you've been able to develop here, they want that there. Because let's put it out there. A lot of the African countries have gone through, their governments haven't really put their people in places to succeed. They don't know the corporations that are in America are going out there and getting over on them. They need to get an understanding on how things work. They need that perspective. They want that perspective. They're not going to get it from our counterparts. So they want the diaspora to come back and be a part of the development of the country. Why wouldn't they? And the same thing would go for the Caribbeans as well. I mean, Guyana has a visa program for African Americans. There's a lot of these countries that are wanting the diaspora to come back, set roots in that country, and help develop it. I tell people all the time when I go back and forth from Ghana, like Ghana is like the U.S. in the 1940s. If you go there and lay roots, you could be the next Walmart. So depending on what you want to do, what you want to bring to the table is open for that. It's open for that. But
sure.
I don't want to drift off into other parts because I guess we want to stay on topic.
I love the information.
We want to figure out why. Well, we don't even need to figure out why, but we need to figure out how to move forward past this scenario that. Because I'm African or because I'm Caribbean, I don't wanna rock with you, and a lot of that goes to trust because growing up or experiences that people have, they feel they can't trust each other.
Say something about some of these comments, please.
Well, the comment says, it pointed out that you just said that even y'all go back, even being Ghanaian American or Ghanaian, you go back and you get treated differently.
That was the one I wanted to say.
Because y'all are American born.
But
how is it?
We are direct. I'm sorry.
I just want to finish the comment. But you said that even you'll go and get treated differently because you're American born, but it's an open invitation. It's like if we've already comfortable here,
thank you.
Can you see how it would be difficult for an American to go over there and feel at home?
That's not.
I'm just asking.
Okay. So here's the difference, and the reason why I made that comment is because yes, my parents are from Ghana. My parents migrated in the 70s here. So with that being said, there's an expectation of me to withhold the culture. I hate to say it, that's not expected of you. They know you're American. And it's not so they're gonna embrace you guys differently.
As American.
Right? Like if I'm supposed to be the goodwill ambassador for the country and I can't even translate what they're saying to you, they're like, what a good is she? Like, I get that. But you guys going there being American, they're gonna embrace y'all with open arms because they want y'all to come back. So to that person,
that makes sense.
I'm scared though. I'm scared to be in somebody else's country and to almost experience the same thing that y'all experienced, that your grandparents experienced or your parents experienced here.
You won't get that. You won't get that.
Speak the okay.
You won't get that at all. They
gonna try to charge you a little more for stuff.
That's charging you a little more is like an extra $2, but that's a whole different topic. It's a microcosm of what takes place with what Liz mentioned. Like it's not everywhere you go that people are treating you in that manner. And you being a Black American coming into the country, you a lot of times, and it's unbeknownst to you that you have a certain privilege that they gravitate to, and it's only because they know your experience.
They want to impress you.
Your experience is different from theirs. They only know what they've been going through there in that country. You come from an area where you experience much more and can almost be enlightening to what they want to accomplish. So it's nothing for you to be worried about. You can this people that go to Ghana by themselves and have no problem. You don't have to watch your back. You're not gonna get jumped. You're not gonna get set up. It is not like that at all. Like it is absolutely not. Especially for African Americans, it's not like that.
People often tell me go to Ghana, trust me, go to Ghana, and I had a list of places.
But like if you was going to Nigeria, I mean,
that's the question I was going to ask you. What's the difference between Ghana
I can't speak on somebody else's country, especially if I've never been there. That's my answer.
That's your answer.
That my answer is I can't speak on another country I've never been
But
to.
you can say if
I
you
can
go
say
to
about
Nigeria,
the-
it would be a different experience. So maybe Ray, you have an opinion.
Listen,
that
every
is wrong.
friend I had, every friend I know that's from Nigeria, they say if you're gonna go to Nigeria, you gotta let them. You gotta roll with them. So that's what I know. Nigeria has 200 million people. So in that country,
How many in
It's the-
Ghana?
it's the-
35 million. Nigeria has
is the
200.
largest black country in the
Right.
world. They
So
have
so
most people.
So Nigeria is all about the hustle. Like you're not gonna make it unless you about your hustle. That's just what
I heard
Nigeria.
that from Nigeria.
That's just what it is.
It's like a classist thing. Like you either going to get it
Classism
or you're
is
going to be
everywhere.
very low on the totem
That's
pole.
and let's talk. Let's keep it out there. It's definitely like that. And any person from Nigeria will tell you, like if you expect to sit around and think things are gonna happen for you, it's not gonna happen. 200 million people, and out that 200 million people, maybe 20% is doing well. So you gotta grind. You gotta grind, but yet and still, the people that are able to provide and do well are doing great. Nigeria's produced a lot of the top productive black people in the world.
Yeah.
Like there's no like when you rock with a Nigerian that's about their business, they get it. They get it done. There's no question about that. Ghana's a bit laid back. Ghana's like Miami. It's fun. It's positive. It's cool. But the hustlers and people trying to get to it, they be in Nigeria.
I kind of want to ask a question that could inflame the room again.
We needed it.
What's that?
We had our kumbaya moment. Let's get back to it.
There's a comment in that clip, and one that was actually sent to us, that says they're warned to stay away from black Americans, even in coming over here.
No. Well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I can read the comment.
Who
that was
said
sent
that
to
they're
us.
warned?
Can I answer this? Because
This is. I'm just gonna read what was sent to us. I'm in the Army. One of my coworkers, he's an immigrant from Chad in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
He was a refugee as a teenager, and when him and his family started the immigration process, they were told to not associate with black Americans.
So about who? Did they mention?
Yeah, who's the they?
It just said when they started the immigration process. So I also thought that, because you can hear that in the camp or in the transferring people, or it can be told from
You want to go ahead and
the company itself. I don't know.
I'll piggyback after you.
I never disputed that fact, right? People are going to tell their stories, their experiences of what it was like being a foreigner in America, how they were received, what they've experienced, and they go back and pass that along. They make it like, to me, when I hear this, it's almost like there's a billboard in the country that says, don't talk to black people when you get to America. That's not the case at all, anywhere. When I think about how this narrative even started, it goes back to the Great Immigration Act of 1965, when Africans and Asians were actually allowed to come to the country. There was nobody warning them then, right, about don't socialize with black people. They had Martin Luther King come to Ghana. They had Malcolm X. They had Muhammad Ali. They had all these great images of black people, right? So now when you get these people who are coming here, and again, are different, and then they can't afford to live in certain places, so where they get shuttled to, the hood, the ghetto, and now you are black, but you sound different, and you dress different, and your food smells weird, and you're different from us, and now we got somebody that we could have, look at them. So now they're getting experiences that are like unfavorable. So now they're able to say, oh, X, Y, and Z. There's no TVs, and people don't have TVs back then to see the crack pandemic just rapidly happening in the 80s. So when people say things like that, that's not what was happening. It was lived experiences that were passed along to people when they were coming. So yeah, that eventually becomes what you hear now. And I don't dispute that. They say that about everybody. Even growing up in the neighborhood I grew up in, we're from the Bronx. We had our black neighbors upstairs that'll tell you, you stay away from them boys in the corner. They no good. But it's as if when it's said with an African accent and a Caribbean accent, it's like, oh, they saying all black people are bad. They're sharing experiences like everybody else did. And it's like, for them, it's best that you keep your head down. Because no matter how you slice it, if you not even though we know you could be at the wrong place at the wrong time and you still get called guilty, but you have a better chance if you stayed away from certain people. So
to piggyback on that, so everybody coming into the U.S. has their own lived experience as far as how they're received. Like pretty much like Liz said. I do know people. I have heard. I spoke with a good friend of mine prior to coming on the show, and she's Jamaican, and I said, I told her about the comment that was made and told her that this was what being said, and she said straight up to me, yeah, my mother told me not to play with black Americans, and when she said that, and she asked me, your parents didn't tell you that? I said no, but what I didn't understand was, why did they tell you that? And she didn't have a reason on why. She just said they told me that because the black people are lazy and a bunch of other stuff, and I'm like, but that what I heard from there was different from what I heard reasons on why certain people that they shouldn't encounter with, because of the bullying, because of the mistreatment, because the making fun of, or and not wanting. And so it seems to be different when it's one community versus another.
I just believe that is more common now. That's why I brought up the 1965 to 2023.
Right.
That's what it evolved into, right?
Right. So it went from a defense to an offense.
Correct.
And so now they're like, all right, take accountability, but it's like, yo, y'all are talking about us. And so we're going back to that clip, we're experiencing like, yo,
right, this is real time.
Y'all dead ass don't fuck with us. We could go back to the beginning. Mm-hmm. And say, okay, it was us that started it, but now it's shifted. The energy is shifted into, we're bullying into, yo, we don't fuck with y'all. Y'all are lazy. Y'all are like this, or y'all don't even fight for y'all culture, or y'all don't have this. And now it seems like we're under attack. Where it's like, or that y'all don't want to fuck with us, and so that's the difference in the conversation. To me, it seems.
No, I hear what you said, but that's what the conversation is about. It's about finding out where it started, where it is right now, where it needs to go from.
I mean, I'd love to know what's on Dodge's mind right now.
Nothing really, because I feel like the whole conversation that is happening right now is literally the same conversation that we already had, and it's just literally just pouring more into what I was saying, and it's just proving it from a different side. So that's why I don't have anything to say, because I feel like the narrative is, and the energy is, that I was wrong or being disrespectful or being one-sided, but as this conversation is continuing, it's the same exact thing from the opposite side. So I still feel like,
do you feel like it's necessary for it to come from the opposite side?
I feel like, sure, it's necessary to come from the opposite side, but then that also goes back to the root of what it is. There is a issue. We see two different sides. We have two different perspectives. There are reasons why, but there is an issue. We can say that it's divisive, fine, it's divisive, but we're still having the same conversation that there is a cultural difference.
But can we, in addressing this, also hear I feel like, I think we lost you a bit when it started going into us discussing the other side of it.
No.
Right? No, we didn't? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Again, the one perspective was mentioned, which was understandable. The other perspective on where it came from wasn't mentioned, and that's why I'm here to mention where it came from. Yeah. It's present now only because it spawned from initially where it started, and that was from those first few who came over and their experiences here. Mm-hmm. And they going back and said, oh, these people treat us like this. So that's where it derived from. So the idea is to understand where it came from, know where it is right now, and figuring out how to squash it and move forward from that point on, if that's even possible.
It's so crazy because you say that, and I remember I was walking along Bedford Avenue one day, and there's a little event space, and there was an African uprising. I want to say it was 2 months ago. They were celebrating this country that had fought back, and they won, and the Africans, they had their food out and shirts, and they like, brother, come join us, and they were trying to tell me about it, and I was like, that's cool, but I looked at the food and I was like, that ain't something I would eat.
Wow. That's not true,
bro. I'm just telling you my experience.
When I worked at the restaurant, you never ate there?
Yeah. I'm talking about what they had that day.
Oh, just there.
Yeah, I was like, and I looked around and I loved that spot. It was connected to this place called Seed around the corner. I don't know if you see it, Jordan, when you ride, but I'm really part of that culture over there with that store. So the event space is connected to them, and the people from the store was like, come in here, yo, this is, great for you to know about. And I was like, yeah, I'll be back. And obviously I didn't go back. I kind of felt, thank you. I felt bad about it a little bit, but I wonder what that comes from. Is it that I just don't want to know about am I so disconnected from black culture, from African culture?
You didn't want to eat the food. It's all right.
But then they was doing like a some type of process, some African,
let's say a
ritual. It was like that, you know what I'm saying? And it was a bunch of that going on, and I kind of was just standing there like, I don't identify with this at all. This is completely foreign to me.
But did you care to learn about it?
Distant cousin. I'm coming in and I don't know nobody here. Y'all all know each other.
It was inviting and you was uncomfortable. So
you're like, y'all friendly and y'all want me here. Let me leave.
What's funny
is, I feel bad about it though. I appreciated the energy. Pardon me, Ray. I appreciated the energy, and I definitely felt like cousins. I just didn't feel one with them. I didn't.
What I was gonna say is a lot of rituals aren't that far off than what takes place when we here in the streets or in the hood. Like when you pour out liquor to your homie or whatever, that's libation.
That's libation.
They do that in Africa. That's part of a ritual.
Whether
so that
baby's born,
right?
So funeral, a wedding.
So it's cool that you engage. You show them you show them love or whatever.
Definitely, right.
And maybe the food didn't look appealing to you. You never knock it till you try it. When you try it, then you know, okay, I don't fuck with this. This shit was not my palate. But it's more of that needs to take place for this thing to kind of mend itself, right?
I feel like that's the thing.
It's being invited. It's taking the invitation. People are inviting you all the time. Take the invitation. See what it's about. Because when you don't take the invitation, then you don't know what the experience is about, and then you're left to assume what it might be or what your perspective is on that without actually engaging in it.
I'm happy to take our wins where we can. I mean, we got a sake right now performing at Barclays, so I love that for us.
Like not for nothing.
A win's a win.
Not for nothing. African culture came a long way.
It came a long way from African booty scratchers. Y'all, people are engaging in the jollof wars, which is hysterical to me because I remember bringing it to school and being teased about it. So to come from there to everybody's like, well, let me taste your mom's rice. So it's like,
and not for nothing. When something starts to develop momentum and gets big, it's only natural that something comes and kind of puts a speed bump in the road. So black people are starting to want to reconnect with their roots. They want to start to build. And now you have diaspora wars. People saying, well, they don't really fuck with us, or we don't really. That's almost like it's almost. This wasn't going to be a smooth marriage, right? They just started accepting the culture itself as far as the music go. This was supposed to happen, but now we know. Now that we see it here, it's figuring out. Well, okay, is this going to be a speed bump? Or this is going to be a bigger issue where it completely divides us.
Turn into a big ass power.
So I mean, these kind of conversations and understand where it derived from and looking where we need to go is needed.
I want to amend a comment I made earlier. I know I said I don't really like having these conversations, but I realize that it is necessary, and I do enjoy it just in a constructive way. You know what I mean? Because we do need to unpack it. We do need to share experiences. I just don't like, often when I did do a little rabbit hole research, it's arguing and it's kind of like trying to trade jabs and whose experience was worse and who's being teased more. You know what I mean? If we could just unpack it and talk about it in a constructive way, I think that's helpful and part of the solution.
And not for nothing, you got to commend Dash for even standing on what her experiences was and putting it out there, because talking to the same person I spoke to about what her parents said, she feels she wouldn't even have mentioned it out. Like it would have been like she knew this was something that was said in her household, but she wouldn't really put it out there because she doesn't want to have that. She wants everything to work out, which is cool, but as you experienced it, it's not cool. People really have strong feelings on both sides about this. So it's like, is for someone to even have put it out there, despite how it was taken, it was necessary for it to be put out there so a conversation can really start to develop. Mm-hmm. So I mean, just like T brought it back and said this was necessary. It's all what needs to be said and done and put out there and ironed out.
Final thoughts on the conversation. For me, I would like everybody to say, like, what is your answer to the division? What is your answer to that conversation when it comes up? Like, oh, y'all don't fuck with us, we don't fuck with y'all. What is your answer to that personally? Liz,
it first starts with people being open to receive other experiences, people being open to be communicative and involved when we've come to a point of like, okay, we agree on this. How do we expound on that? I feel like honestly we lost you once you said, well, I think this became about vindicating yourself, and that's why I wanted to make it very clear from me that I never disputed your feelings or your reasons why. The reasons why were never wrong in my opinion. It was the delivery and the initial part. So I feel like I really wish you were more engaged when we were all talking about like the forwardness of the conversation, which is where we were hoping for it to go. So I feel like until we can get things like that going, so we can really understand that people are hearing and we're hearing them and we're being heard and being honored, that's going to help us get forward.
It's going to take some real uncomfortable conversations are going to happen.
There's going to be more of these conversations.
This is some deep shit. This is really some deep shit. Right, go ahead.
Well, my thing. Well, I guess my thing is, what was the question again?
When these conversations come up, what is your answer to them? And I saw you going back and forth a lot in the comments.
It was more so like, I can't escape not being black. I was born in America. I grew up on the culture. My parents is funny thing, and most people can identify this who are either Caribbean or African. Outside of your home was America. Inside of the house was whatever country you was from, was Ghana, Nigeria. That's how it was. So me being who I am, I lived in two worlds. I had to operate in two worlds.
More than two worlds.
So for me, when a white person sees me, they don't see an African kid. They see a black kid. My black friends, that when they got past the fact that I was African, I was one of the dudes. Despite not being able to go to some of their homes because I was the African kid. But that's neither here nor there. So when it comes to having this conversation and we start to kind of pick sides, I kind of brushed that aside like, yo, I'm part of this culture too. I grew up in this culture. There's been contributions made by people who are African in this culture. So we're a part of it. If you want to start diving through that, we can start listing different people from different African countries who are part of this culture doing and thriving in it. So that's really based on the knowledge of that person and what they know, because a lot of times they only know what they see. And they're not seeing much. If you're not having these conversations and someone telling you from a different point of view what's going on, then you only know what you've seen or heard. So it's two sides to everything. I brush it aside. Like, if you seen me in the streets without this, would you even think that I was African? A lot of times people like, no. But it's till I mention or I identify myself or put it out there, then that's when it's like, oh, and then the conversation switches. So
No, that ain't the case.
no, the conversation switches to how's Ghana, I want to go, like stuff more on those lines. But if I don't mention that, then that's what it is. Like I grew up with being in school and roll call, students getting their name getting called out. But every time my name got called out, laughter. Oh, cause my name is my last name is different. My first name sounds like anything else, but the last name is like what? Ha ha ha! It was something that I had to conform
my
to.
My first name, shit.
Yeah.
But that, yeah. So and that would land with anybody who has a different. Something different about them, right? So the person who's different, you're always going to be targeted in some way. But at the end of the day, I'm black. I hate to be identified as a color, but I mean that's what the system
here. That's what happened.
Michael ain't want that fuzz.
Dosh, the question comes up. With the diaspora wars, what exactly do you think is the answer when that shit comes your way?
When it comes my way, I make sure that I name my intersectionality when it comes to the diaspora wars. I don't like to pick sides.
As a matter of fact, last week you were actually on the other side. Once we brought the shit back, you made sure to point out how Black Americans were at fault for creating this shit.
So with that being said, I think that the only thing that can help us as a community, as Black people in the world, is sharing culture with each other, is sharing space with each other, is having real honest conversations with one another. It's like, all right, you have this. Well, in my culture, we have something like this. Well, that sounds like it's pretty similar. So let me try your thing and I'm going to try my thing. And I think that that's really important to put it all together. I feel like my intersectionality when it comes to the diaspora wars puts me in a very unique place, that I have perspective from many different sides and I can speak on that perspective from many different sides. And if everybody took the time out to actually delve into the other cultures, that you would see that we are way more alike than we are different.
Tron, I'm not asking the damn question again. I didn't said it 3 times. I know you heard it.
I know the question. My biggest thing is that when I look at this, I'm careful about the rhetoric. I would never want to repeat any rhetoric that a white supremacist would stand on to divide us. And we have to be careful and cautious of that. Sometimes we repeat these things and not realizing how damaging it is, right? I think a big part of that for me, and not to put myself on a pedestal because my journey is not there yet, but I look at certain comments and I'll be like, yo, these people don't read the same books that I'm reading. Again, not to be put on a pedestal, but the things that I choose to consume are very pro-Black and very Pan-African and global. And so it gives me a whole new understanding of perspective on our differences and really our similarities and our war, right? As Black people, and that's how we're viewed. And when you think about it from that perspective, from my perspective, all of this shit is stupid. You know what I mean? And it's rhetoric that's very divisive. It sounds like there's a group of CIA operatives sitting down laughing at us like, yo, we started the fire and they're continuing it. You know what I mean? And it really bothers me. So that's why when the conversation exists, I want to make sure that it's constructive, that it's about solutions, and it's not advancing the divisive rhetoric, because I don't think there's any positivity in that at all.
I get that. If I was to answer the question, I would say that once ignorance has grown to the level that it's on, you probably can't. Motherfuckers have when they grow up on that, that's who they become. That's just who they are. I think again the change starts with the children. I remember my grandmother walked to Mecca, I believe it is, or she went to Egypt or some shit. And she came back and she gave all of the grandkids cartouches. She made sure. And my mom named me a cartouche. It has a Swahili. It's the
The Ankh?
The Ankh.
Is it an Ankh?
It's not.
It's not an Ankh.
That
It's
is
a
that- but it's like a
panel
plaque that
of
has
Swahili
all the
symbols,
different. Okay, yeah, that's what I
or
thought.
you know, that say your name or say a message or whatever. And so she gave me one with my name on it, and later on I pawned it.
Love that for you.
For some weed.
I was feeling like he said pawn.
I wear my mom's now, so I still wear it. But I remember that, and that along with the fact that I had a Swahili name. Anytime people ask me what my name is, I say, my name, I say Swahili right after. They don't even have to ask me where it's from. It's a pride there. And that kind of connected me back to a culture that I did not have. I literally was from Brooklyn. I had nothing. I ain't no dad. I ain't nothing. My mother goes to work. I go to school. That's all that's how I identify. So when my grandmother gave me that and I knew what my name meant, it gave me something that I was able to add to a conversation that gave me some sort of weight, something that I could measure myself by. And if I'm going to say anything to change it now, it's to involve your children, to make sure that you involved in the cultural conversations. Make sure it's not just like they're oblivious to it, because in oblivion there's a space where ignorance will grow. It's like you just don't have anything there. There's just a wide dark space where anything can sit in and fester. And we're walking around in Brooklyn with all this bullshit, and we're walking around on especially social media now. It's so much bullshit. It's literally the one thing that gets retweeted is bullshit, even with people that argue it. And then once you see it get retweeted, you'll form a bullshit. If you haven't read like Trom does, you'll form a bullshit argument, and now it's towards what Trom reads. I don't, and now your response makes you feel a way about the person that said it. So if it's African that said it, now your response is, well, y'all do this. And that space there's nothing but ignorance that will grow from that. I would say, bring your kids to fucking Africa. Make sure when you go to Jamaica or whatever, like take them there. Like we just going to Cancun. We're literally just going to walk on Ocean Drive in Miami. We're going to Cancun. We're not showing our kids anything but fucking Disneyland and shit like that. But we really do have to program ourselves to be ready for the war that Trom is speaking about. And I believe it starts with the children. The older motherfuckers is just going to be like that. I don't know if there's any way to fix.
Those older motherfuckers teach those kids though, so we need them to open their eyes. But
how?
I mean, we gotta be like those Israelites, right? They gotta be standing in front of Brooklyn and
going to Ghana though. Now, how many people we went to elementary school?
Yeah, I mean, is this generation that's realizing, okay,
hieroglyphics,
that we need to look and try that. You have to try it. You have to just say it's not enough saying, oh yeah, I'm a come back and have something. You have to come try it. You got to try it. Just like when you looked at that food, it didn't look appealing. You said you're gonna come back and you got to try it.
But Dodge did actually work in a Nigerian restaurant and made me try the food, and I was like, all right, that's different, but I get it. Okay, it's cool, huh? Yeah, it was cool.
Because it's some
conversation went left, right, up, down. But it's definitely something that will inspire thought, right, and conversation, and hopefully it'll be something that we can build from going forward. I'd like to thank you, Liz and Ray, for stopping in.
Thank you for inviting us. I want to say that because I felt like this is something that needed to happen in person and not be behind.
This is a hard topic, man.
It's very difficult topic.
And you gotta be mad first before you can find happiness, and then
I wish we didn't
really be, it's just how it is. Like nothing comes. You can't just walk into a space and automatically be, hey, that's really fake. Yeah. And that's one thing about us. We ain't fake. Ain't nobody fake here. If there's something on their chest, it's gonna be said. You're gonna take it how you're gonna take it, and if you're committed to it, we're gonna work through it. And then when we see each other again, hey. What's going on?
You good? You good? I'm good.
I'm good. You good? Stop playing. Yeah. So that's what it is, man.
This is the end of the Diaspora Wars conversation, starring Liz, Ray, me, Dodge, Trom. We'll see you back in a second for part 2. I don't know if I'm doing a part 2, y'all. I'm exhausted. That shit was.
They not gonna be happy.
That shit was exhausted.
You can't. The fight has to continue. So you can talk that exhausted shit now, but You gotta stay on it.
Well, they gonna talk about something completely different.
That's
They still
true, but
show
you gotta
us.
Alright,
you gotta
let me
serve,
just-
you gotta stay. I'm sorry.
Yo, so shameless. Bye, y'all.